Alright, hey everyone, I'm FunkMastaDre, or Dre for short, and we're going to be playing some Spark the Electric Jester 2. And this is my submission video for GDQx 2019. So a bit of history about the game first off. This game was created by Lick Feppard. He used to create Sonic fan games in the past, like Sonic Before the Sequel and Sonic Chrono Adventure, very good games. And now he's since moved on and created his own unique IP called Spark the Electric Jester, and this is a sequel. And this game controls very similar to the Sonic series for obvious reasons, mainly Sonic Adventure. So what I'm doing right now is I'm changing a couple of settings, mainly turning VSync on, because the game's a bit unstable with it off. And unfortunately, these settings do not save between save files, and as you saw, I just made a new save file for this playthrough. So we have to change them every time. Alright, so time will start when I hit return to menu, or quit to menu, sorry. That will actually skip the tutorial and take us straight to the first stage. And this gives runners a chance to change their settings in case they need to turn more graphic settings down before the run. So 3, 2, 1, go. So first things first, in FM City, first stage, I'm going to grab this power-up down below. This power-up is called Edgy. This power-up gives us not only a triple jump, but a triple dash in the air. And I just restarted because it's a little faster than going back here. So the first piece attack here, I'm going to do now. This is called a magnet dash. As you just saw, what I did was I did a homing attack, or a Jester attack on an enemy, as it's called in this game. And I canceled it with a dash. By canceling it with a dash, you cancel the attack, but you still keep the speed you get from the attack, which is very good. And that allowed us to do that stage incredibly quickly. And that's one of the most important pieces of tech in the game. Alright, so FM downtown, there's a magnet dash right at the beginning here. After we do a triple jump here. There we go. And by doing the magnet dash right against the ramp, we just propelled very high in the air. There's a faster magnet dash in this stage, but that one's a little safer. And it looks cooler, because the other one you don't go that high in the air. Alright, so coming up, I'm going to grab another power-up. This one's called Plasma, also known as Sword, because it pretty much just is a giant blue sword that we carry around. Gonna grab this one for a couple of reasons. One, the charge attack of this power-up gives us a speed buff, as you see right underneath my health bar on the top left. This speed buff gives us a 1 times speed multiplier, which raises our top speed and allows us to get to that top speed much quicker as well. Another magnet dash there at the end. Sword also does more damage against bosses, and speaking of bosses, here's the first boss now. Let me explain bosses to you. So bosses, by doing attacks to bosses as well as parrying, as you're seeing right now, I just parried the boss's attack, it's raising that blue bar underneath my health meter. And the higher that blue bar is, the more damage I get. See, now I'm at 3 times damage. That's the damage I want. And I want that for every boss. You want that as quick as possible. That way you do more damage to the boss faster. Also, parrying itself does damage. And another note, if you parry an attack right before it hits you, you do a perfect parry. The perfect parry will do more damage to the boss, and it'll also raise your multiplier faster. So that's bosses. That was actually a really solid boss. Also, Sword does a little bit more damage to bosses as well. Alright, so this stage, Floria Highway, is very straightforward. There are a couple of magnet dashes that I'll go for. And again, making sure I keep the buff for Sword up, because again, it's very useful to have. There's a magnet dash there, and we actually did it perfectly, so we got the biggest burst of speed there. Alright. And another magnet dash coming up here. This one's a little hard to do. There we go, just made sure I lined myself up. Just for safety, I'm going to go along this loop. If done correctly, you can magnet dash. That magnet dash can actually take you even further in the stage. It's very hard to do though, so I usually land on that loop for safety. At least in full runs. Lost a bit of my speed, unfortunately. So I'm going to charge and jump off that ramp. That way I get a little bit more extra height from my jumps. Alright, so here I'm going to jump off this loop midway. And this will take me to... Uh-oh. Alright, never mind, we're good. Alright, and this will take me to the score bubble. Excuse me, score bubble. Gonna magnet dash off of that. There we go. Good stuff. We kept our speed. It's very hard to land on that crane and keep your speed, but I managed to do it. And we got a mini-boss here. Very simple mini-boss. Just hit him and parry him until he dies. We should be at 3 times here. There we go. And he's dead. I'm going to run away to reduce lag, because the animation of these enemies blowing up is very laggy. There we go. And there's Floria Highway. Not the best Floria Highway, but pretty decent. Better than my PB, apparently. Alright, coming up is Floria Plant. There's a magnet dash here at the very beginning of the stage. So I'm going to jump around here, parry this laser, and magnet dash off that second enemy there. And I didn't get enough speed, but I got plenty of height. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make it to the top of the building. So I'm going to have to triple jump up there. There we go. And there's another magnet dash here. Just going to line myself up. There we go. And use my speed to skip this lava section. There we go. Very well, nice. Very nice. Very well done. Alright, gonna jump off this loop halfway. Just to skip it, because you don't really need to go through there. And again, you can parry in normal stages as well. In fact, you need to parry these lasers to get through. It's a very useful piece of tech for speedrunning. That way you can just parry most enemies in your way. Now here in this tunnel is pretty tricky to navigate. I'm going to do the best I can. Let's not take too much damage. If done correctly, you will pretty much run through this entire tunnel without stopping. It's very hard to do so, though. And there we go. There's Floria Plant. Bit of sloppy at the end, but not bad. Alright, coming up, Turbo Bird. This is our second boss. This one's pretty much the same as the first one. Really nothing too special here. Most of the mechanics I've already talked about. We're going to make sure that we parry all of his attacks. That attack you can parry twice. Unfortunately, I didn't do it. Otherwise, I'd be at 3 times now. There we go. Now we're already at 3 times. Alright, so far so good. Alright, so this phase of the boss, he just kind of goes flying around. We want to make sure we parry him as much as we can, because as you see, we are doing damage each time we parry. Unfortunately, I missed that one. Unfortunately, he doesn't really lock on to you. You kind of have to run into him. Alright, now he's back on the ground, so now we just make sure we get enough damage on him before he does that again. And he's dead. There we go. Running away again to reduce lag. Alright, and there's Turbo Bird. Alright, so this next stage, Floresta Blanca, I'm just going to be quiet during most of the stage. Most of the tech I've already explained, so here we go. Very quick stage, as you can see. Very nice looking as well. Whoops, magnet dashed off the wrong thing. Oh wow, that enemy's there. There we go. Ah, messed up there. Yeah, so if you do the stage correctly, you can pretty much speed through the entire stage like that, but it's very difficult. You have to react to things very quickly. Ooh, unfortunately, I missed that enemy. Wow. But yeah, this is a very tough stage to go through effectively, because there's so much you have to worry about. But still very quick Floresta Blanca overall. Again, switching to sword just because it does more damage on this mini-boss here. And there we go, there's Floresta Blanca. Alright, so coming up is Castella Blanca. This stage has one of the only wall clips in the game, so I'm going to show that off here. Alright, so nothing special about the beginning. Just going to do a triple jump to get up here quicker, that way we don't have to go all the way around. Another triple jump to get on top of this archway. And we're going to grab the last power-up that we need for the run. This one's called Power Armor. It's supposed to be red, for some reason it got glitched and now it's black. The Power Armor gives us an extended dash, as well as more damage. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to dash into this little wall here in between the gate and the barrier. We're going to run down the wall. That'll allow us to clip into this barrier. And now we just jump to the end. So normally what you have to do for this stage is you have to turn this barrier off, which takes about 2 minutes. But since we clipped into the barrier, we don't have to worry about that. And there we go. There's Floresta Blanca. Alright, so this boss is Float. A little bit harder than most bosses in the game, actually, because she moves around a lot. Also, her attacks can be tough to parry as well, because some of them don't really have a tell to them. There we go, now we're at 3 times. There we go. And I'm doing this combo where I alternate between light and heavy attacks, because that does the most damage here. So I'm going to move her away from that red circle, because that red circle hurts. We don't want to be anywhere near it. There we go. Got her away from it. And there's Float. Not a bad boss. And again, as I mentioned before, the power armor usually does the most damage on boss fights, so that's why I was using that. Skip the cutscene. Alright, so for this next stage, Shantoria Town, we're basically going to be magnet dashing across the rooftops in this stage. The rest of the stage doesn't exist here. Bit of sloppy beginning. Okay. Gonna get my sword buff if I can. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. Alright, so I'm just going to jump on this roof. Then we're going to magnet dash here. And we're going to jump off that small ramp with our speed. That way we get a lot of height. And that will take us straight to this rooftop. Well done. Magnet dash there. And now we're pretty much at the end of the stage. Bit of a sloppy beginning, but nice finish. It was actually gold, surprisingly. Alright. One thing I want to point out for this game, it has a fantastic soundtrack, and this song is no exception. This is Techno City. There's a bit of new tech in this stage. Some of the springs that you've noticed that I've been bouncing off of in this game, you can't actually magnet dash off of. It's just pretty difficult to do. So I'm going to try to go for it here at the beginning. You just kind of need to do it at an angle. Alright, so here we go. Nope, unfortunately didn't get it. So I'm just going to go through this stage a little bit normally. Just going to magnet dash off of that instead. There we go. So not that much of a time loss, it's just if you magnet dash off that spring, it's much faster. Ooh, unfortunately, I switched power-ups in the air, which just caused me to lose a dash. That was a really silly move of me. But luckily that didn't put me too far back. So that's fine. There we go. And another thing in this game to notice, when you bounce off of a spring, it resets your dashes and your jumps, which is why I'm able to dash after every spring. Alright. Magnet dash here. And we'll try to keep the speed until this ramp here. There we go. And one last magnet dash at the end for good measure. And there we go. So, lost a lot of time, unfortunately, because of that death, but I guess it could have been worse. Alright, so EJ coming up, also known as Shadow the Hedgehog. This boss can be pretty simple, but he does like to move around a lot, so it can be fairly annoying. As you saw, he just dashed. Where he dashes is a little bit randomized. So, you want him to dash in favorable locations, hopefully not too far away from you. And unfortunately, I didn't parry those attacks, so I just lost my multiplier. Alright, almost got him. There we go. Would have been faster if I didn't lose my multiplier there. Alright, so we've got another boss fight here, Double. This boss is fairly simple. He really telegraphs his moves compared to some of the other bosses in the game. So it's really not too bad. So we just want to make sure we parry everything. There we go. Unfortunately, we didn't parry that last attack, but it's okay. We're still in 3 times multiplier. Alright, so phase 2, he does this shine attack a lot. You have to parry that. There's no other way to dodge it. And sometimes it's annoying because he'll do it right before or right after an attack. And right now he's dead, but he has kind of a last-ditch attack phase where he does a couple attacks. Mainly the shine attack here. I'm not going to parry it just because when you parry there is a little bit of lag. So I'm just going to eat the attack to eliminate lag. And that was double. One of the best double fights I've done in a while, actually. Alright, coming up we've got Terminal Dragon. This stage is fairly straightforward. It's a train stage, but if a stage is straightforward, usually magnet dashes are awesome, as you just saw. I just did one at the very beginning. I'm going to try to do one here. Unfortunately, I didn't get it the way I wanted it to, but that's fine. We got the first one, which is great. So mostly what we're trying to do in the stage is travel along the top of it instead of worrying about touching the ground. Again, if I had done a successful magnet dash at the beginning, I wouldn't have to worry about touching the ground at all. Alright, so I'm just going to use my sword buff here just to get a higher top speed. And we're going to go for this magnet dash here. Hopefully we get this one. This one's more important. There we go. And now we can just jump straight to the boss. And we have a 2 times multiplier to start off with, thanks to magnet dashing off that squirrel bubble. Alright, nothing too special about this boss. Very slow telegraph moves, kind of like double. And he's already dead. So not the best Terminal Dragon, but not the worst one either. Alright, coming up we got Scary Astropolis. A new strat was just discovered like a day ago for the stage, so I'm gonna go for it here. Gonna just restart. I want to magnet dash off this enemy and then immediately jump. There we go. Got it. And I want to land on this rooftop here. There we go. Alright, just for safety, I know I'm not going to make it all the way there, so I'm going to hit this spring. And I'm going to jump across here. And fun fact, you can parry the trains in a stage, so I'm going to go for another magnet dash here. And I'm going to surf along this wall a bit. If you do that correctly, you can actually make it all the way to the end of that tunnel I was just in by wall surfing, which is really neat. Alright, and the rest of the stage is pretty straightforward. Just jumping across level geometry here. Alright, there we go. There's Scaria. Very fun stage. Alright, coming up is Titanic Tower. This stage is very unique. It's an almost entirely vertical stage. We're pretty much walking up walls throughout the majority of the stage, so a little bit of trivia of this stage. Like Feppard, you know, the guy that created this game, he actually created a stage in Sonic Before the Sequel, one of his fan games, called Titanic Tower. And he basically transitioned it over to this game, which I thought was really neat. Again, we're going to keep the sword buff up as much as we can, going up these walls, that way we get more speed. And another thing I'd like to point out with this game, because this stage is pretty straightforward, it's mostly just running up walls. The way the movement works, there's almost no automation in this game. Or there's pretty much no automation at all, really. When you're running up like loops and stuff like that, you have complete control over your character. Which is a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because it allows us to do like much better movement, like jumping off slopes early, instead of having to go through the whole loop, which allows for a lot more shortcuts. It's bad because it can be kind of hard to control sometimes, but that's honestly a con I'm willing to take for more control of your character. Again, lots of speed going up here. And again, if you fall off of these, because you can easily fall off these walls, you lose a lot of time, because you pretty much have to start the section from the beginning again. Alright, gonna go off here. There we go. There's Titanic Tower. Very fun stage, one of my favorites. Alright, coming up is Flint, arguably one of the hardest bosses in the game. This guy moves around a lot, so because of that, I'm gonna use Sword for him instead of Power. The reason why is Sword has a lot more AoE on his attacks, and I want to make sure I'm hitting him as much as possible. And again, this boss moves a lot, and his attacks can be very quick and varied. Like that attack there. But I've practiced this boss a lot, so I'm kind of used to it by now. It's still very difficult. Now it's teleporting around. So far, this might be the best Flint I've done in a while. Because he's actually being fairly generous. He's kind of been next to us a lot during this fight. Normally he teleports around a lot. There we go, there's Flint. And fun fact, this boss doesn't actually die. You see him teleport away. Alright, and there's Flint. Coming up is Planetary Stripe. One of the coolest stages in the game, in my opinion. It's very straightforward, but there are a lot of things we can do to circumvent that. We're going to jump up here, go for a magnet dash, switch to power, that way we get a far dash there. That gets through the beginning faster. Now normally the gimmick of the stage is flipping gravity, as you just saw, so we're going to abuse that. We're going to go off the path here and go into this gravity switcher, which will put us right next to this magnet dash here. And we're not supposed to be up here at all. We're definitely not. This is the top of some of the loops in the level. Alright, now I'm going to jump off here. Ooh, I didn't do it correctly, so we're going to have to do the rest of the station normally. That's fine. If you jump off there correctly, you'll get very high in the air. And on one of the rooftops in this section, there are areas where you can magnet dash to save quite a bit of time. So I'm going to go for a magnet dash here, though. Actually, never mind. I'm just going to do the rest of the station normally. Because it's actually very difficult to go for, and I've already lost enough time on the stage. But still, this is actually not a bad Planetary Devastation just because of the beginning. Or I'm sorry, Planetary Stripe, not Devastation, excuse me. Been watching too much Naruto. Alright, and there we go. There's the end of that stage. Still a gold split, so I'm happy. Alright, coming up is Hyperwrath Fleet, also known as Hyperwrath Yeet. This is probably the hardest stage in the game, also the longest stage in the game. That's part of the reason why it's the hardest. Alright, so at the beginning here, we're going to veer off to the left to go for this magnet dash. There we go. And we're going to jump there and get a lot of height. And we're going to try to magnet dash off of here. Ooh, not good. Okay, we saved it. We're okay. That could have been really bad. That was almost a death. Now, as you just saw, I just jumped through the floor there. The floor of these areas is kind of weird. The bottom of it you can jump through, but you can still land on it. Very odd properties of that. I'm not sure how it works either, don't ask me. I just work here. Alright, so we're going to go for a second magnet dash here. And we're going to jump, hopefully make it to the top of the ship. I don't think we're going to make that, so we're just going to go in. That's fine. That was not too big of a time loss if you don't make it to the top of the ship, because you can go for a backup magnet dash out here. Alright, here we go. Gonna magnet dash here. And this will give us enough speed to get inside the major portion of the level, which is the inside of the big ship. And again, gonna show off more of the fact that you can jump underneath these floors. You just can't do that from above. Alright, now we're inside the ship. Lots of very precision platforming here, and parries as well, as you can see. Hard to explain everything that's going on, because there is a lot. Alright, so in this section, gravity is slightly heightened, which is why my jumps and just movement is really slow. So, want to get through that as quickly as you can. I'm going to go for another magnet dash here. Got it. Very nicely done, actually. I'm going to take damage here. So one thing I didn't really explain, when you have 3 times and you do your timed attack, or you do your charge attack, excuse me. Ooh, I'm really messing up this section, but when you have 3 times and you do your charge attack, you do a charged attack that's exclusive to the power you have equipped. We don't want that, because that won't allow us to do the triple jump that we normally do with Edgy. Alright. Just barely made it up there by homing attacking that enemy. Again, this stage can go either very well or horribly wrong. Alright, so I'm going to try to get to the end of this section before this giant laser hits us. That's not going to happen. So I'm just going to parry the laser. No big deal. There we go. So if you do that correctly, you don't even have to parry that laser. But again, this stage is mind-numbingly difficult. There's a lot that can go wrong here. And right now, we're just trying to get to the goal before this countdown finishes, as you can see in the level. It's really not a threat at all, though. We'll finish this with more than 30 seconds to spare. It's just kind of something to keep you going. Alright, there's the end of Hyper Athlete. Tough stage. Very tough stage. As you saw, we lost a lot of time there. Alright, coming up is Astra. This boss can be annoying because it's Astra and Romalo. And they kind of attack independently from each other. Like, as you just saw, so I had to parry both of those attacks there. There we go. So far, so good. The hardest phase of this is the first phase. There we go. Now we're going to attack her as much as we can during this transition, while she's just standing still doing nothing. And now she merged with Romalo, and we don't have to worry about Romalo anymore. We just have to worry about her attacks, which is arguably easier. And as you saw, the boss is already dead. Not too much to worry about there. It's actually a gold Astra. Alright, Apocalypse Thruster, final stage of the game. This one is not as difficult as the last stage, but still very difficult. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a magnet dash here. Ooh, unfortunately I didn't get the speed I wanted there. That's fine. We're just going to jump off here, just do some tough platforming. Whoa, that's not good. Missed that triple jump. There we go. Ooh, not good. Alright, there we go. We're fine. Everything's fine. Alright, so I'm going to jump on top of this checkpoint here to get to the top of the section. This leads to another magnet dash. Ooh, unfortunately I didn't do that one correctly either. That one's a really tough one to do. So that's fine. That happens in the game. I mean, I've nailed most of the magnet dashes in this run. It's actually surprising that I got that many. Alright, so coming up, we're going to go for another magnet dash, which is pretty much the story for this entire run. Gonna jump off this loop here. Ooh, not good. Alright, we're fine. That way we can land on top of this building and go for this magnet dash. And unfortunately I messed up, so I'm gonna go for this one on the roof. This is a backup one. Ooh, not good. There we go. We're gonna go inside the ship with the speed we got. Gonna have to parry all the giant lasers of death. So again, even if she fails stuff in this game, there's plenty of backup strats, which is nice. As you saw, I just messed up that magnet dash, so we're gonna have to go through this section normally. Gonna jump off this loop so I can get up here. And I want to kind of run along this wall up here. Oh, whoops. Didn't get the height I wanted there. There we go. There's a magnet dash up here at the top. Gonna go for that. And that'll take us across that little skinny section at the bottom. Don't have to worry about that anymore. And now it's just kind of a race to run to the top of this section here. Which is a lot easier. It's a lot harder than it looks, actually. It's easier said than done, that's what I was trying to say. Alright, in this section here, if you walk off the path, you will take a lot of damage. That's why I'm kind of trying to be careful here. Alright, and there's Apocalypse Thruster. Alright, coming up is the second to last boss here. Yeah, it's a lot of different phases, but all of their phases really do is add a couple new attacks. But this boss is pretty much like every other boss in the game. Just parry him as much as you can. Now, this attack, the one he just did, you have to parry multiple times, so you do have to be careful of that. Alright, so far so good. We're in this last phase. Again, he does attack very quick though, so you do have to watch out for that. There we go. Now we're on to the final boss, and this final boss is quite possibly one of the hypest things you'll ever see in this game. It actually comes out of nowhere. So we're going to skip the cutscene, so you're going to have no idea what's going on here. But here's the final boss. We are now JoJo Fark, also known as Super Fark in this game. And this final boss is pretty much straight out of Dragon Ball Z. So Super Fark, he does a lot more damage than normal. Which really doesn't matter in this fight, because this is the only time we'll really be able to use him. But pretty much what we want to do is just mash square and parry, just like every other boss. But we want to make sure that we keep the 3 times during this fight, because otherwise it does take a very long time. Unfortunately we got hit there, but that's okay. And unfortunately we cannot skip these action cutscenes in between phases. So, fun fact, in between these phases, you actually keep your multiplier, which is why it's important to keep your 3 times. So again, I had 3 times damage already, which makes this phase go by much quicker. And in between each phase, he does change his attacks a lot. That attack hits multiple times, so you want to make sure you parry each time. There we go. Now we're moving on to phase 3, which is the final phase. And he's pretty annoyed right now, so he's gonna power up, you know, Dragon Ball Z style, just like Frieza. You can definitely tell his design is inspired a bit by Frieza and Cell from Dragon Ball Z. Alright, so far so good. Didn't quite parry that first attack, unfortunately. There we go, parried that one. And time is coming up. Once the cutscene starts, and time. There we go. And that's actually a PB by 30 seconds. I'm surprised. I didn't think that run went that well, especially near the end. But, yeah, I definitely see this game going down to 30 minutes. Sub 30, that is. It's definitely on its way there, considering this was just a submission video and I PB'd, so... And, yeah, so that's Spark the Electric Jester 2. This game has very good movement, as you saw. I love the movement in this game, that's why I think it's so good to run. Very nice movement. There's backup strats everywhere, so even if I fail something, it's very easy to recover, as you saw. Because I didn't get everything perfectly in this run, but I was still able to PB thanks to backup strats. So, thank you GDQ staff if you made it this far. Thank you for watching through this entire video. And I hope you liked the run. We're just gonna watch the final cutscene here. Alright, and that's it. I'm gonna check my in-game time at the end here. The in-game time, unfortunately, isn't accurate, because it counts your time spent in the beginning changing your settings. Which is why we use RTA for this run. See, our in-game time is 32 minutes. And the stage time, that's really weird. I don't know why our stage time says 4 hours. Yeah, just ignore that. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.